Hello, tonight our lesson is on dividing fractions. This is part 3. So let's look at this first example, and this is a review of what we've done. Let's say I take the number 3 and I divide it by 1/2. Well, I can visually show that by drawing 3 rectangles or 3 boxes, and if I divide each of the rectangles into halves, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 half pieces. So the answer to this division problem is 6. All right, so now let's go down below the boxes, and here, if I have 3 times a number is equal to 6, what would the number be? Well, of course, that number would be 2. 3 times 2 is equal to 6. So what this is showing us is that when we divide with fractions, you get the same result if you multiply by the reciprocal of the divisor. All right, so let's write this in our notes. Whenever dividing with fractions, always multiply the dividend by the reciprocal of the divisor. And here we have a couple of problems. As examples, 4 divided by 1/3 and 1/2 divided by 2. Now notice that the first number is called the dividend. That's the number that's being divided up. And then the number that comes after the division symbol is the divisor. That's the number that's dividing into the dividend. So it doesn't matter if you have a fraction as your dividend, like this problem down here, 1/2, or if you have a fraction as the divisor. In either case, you would multiply by the reciprocal in order to work this out. All right, so let's go ahead then, and for the first example here, 4 divided by 1/3, if I'm supposed to multiply by the reciprocal of the divisor, that means the 4 is unchanged. Division becomes multiplication. The reciprocal of 1/3 would be 3 over 1, or just 3. So this first problem, the answer would be 12. The second example, 1/2 divided by 2. Okay, the dividend is 1/2, so that doesn't change. But the division becomes multiplication. And then the 2, I'm going to write the reciprocal of 2. Well, the reciprocal of 2 is 1/2, because 2 over 1 would be 2 as a fraction. So if I flip the numerator and denominator around, that becomes 1/2. So the answer to this second example would be 1/4. All right, here are a couple of more problems to practice with. So the first one, 1/3 divided by 4. All right, so we're instructed to multiply by the reciprocal of the divisor. So 1/3 is unchanged. Division becomes multiplication. What is the reciprocal of 4? Well, if you said 1/4, you're correct. So this problem would equal 1/3 times 1/4, and that would equal 1/12. All right, look at the next problem. 2/5 divided by 4/7. Which number is the dividend? It's the 2/5, that's right. So that's unchanged. But we're going to multiply that by the reciprocal of the divisor. What's the reciprocal of the divisor? That's right, it's 7 over 4. Now, before we multiply, I'm going to look and see if I can cancel anything. Do you see something we can cancel? Okay, well, if you said 2 and 4, you'd be correct. 2 divides into 4 2 times, and 1 time into itself. So if I cancel those before I multiply, my answer will be in lowest terms. It will be reduced. So 1 times 7 would be 7. 5 times 2 is 10. So the answer is 7/10, not 14/20, because that's not reduced. All right? Okay, write these problems down, pause your video, go ahead and solve them, and then restart to check your answer. Now, actually, go ahead and do 4 first and restart. Okay, and then if you get that one right, then you move on. All right, welcome back from pausing the video. 3/8 is the dividend, so that does not change. Let's change division to multiplication. The reciprocal of the divisor, which is 2, the reciprocal is 1/2. And I can't cancel any of the factors, so let's multiply straight across. 1 times 3, 2 times 8, so we get 3/16. So how'd you do? Okay, good. Go ahead and do the next problem if you haven't done it yet, and pause your video if you need to. All right, welcome back from pausing the video if you paused it. 7/9 is our dividend, so let's write that. The division becomes a multiplication. The reciprocal of 4/3 is 3/4. And let's cancel some factors. 3 will cancel into 9 3 times, and 1 time into itself. Now let's multiply. 7 times 1 is 7. 3 times 4 is 12. So this answer was 7/12. Okay, so how'd you do on those? Okay, make sure you have good notes. Let's do the self-quiz. So go ahead and copy the problems down, solve them on your own to make sure you understand, then restart to check your answer. All right, welcome back from pausing the video. Let's see how you did. So the first one, we're going to take 8/9 and multiply by 3/2. Let's cancel some factors here. 2 divides into 8 4 times, 1 time into itself. 3 divides into itself once and into 9 3 times. So we get 4 times 1 and 3 times 1. This equals 4/3. The second problem, we have 1/4 as the dividend. We're going to multiply by the reciprocal, which is 8/9. All right, we can cancel some factors. 4 goes into itself 1 time. It goes into 8 twice. So we get 2/9. All right, so how'd you do? Well, hopefully you did very well. Thank you for taking the notes. And remember, read some books.